We've had a bumper crop of tomatoes this year from our really not so large garden. I would say probably 35 to 40 pounds of tomatoes. So what do you do when you have that many tomatoes? Well, of course, the first thing that jumps to mind is you can them. However, not everybody has all of the equipment needed for canning, and not everybody wants to go through that process. There is another way to perfectly preserve your fresh tomatoes from the garden, and that's what we're going to go over today on History by the Plate. Now, what I've done is I've washed all of the tomatoes from the garden just to get them nice and clean, and what I'm going to do now is simply quarter them. Put those aside. Put those aside, and what we're going to do is just continue that with the rest of the tomatoes that we have here. So the tomatoes are now all quartered. We're going to go over to the sink next and seed them. Now, once you've quartered the tomatoes, seeding them is easy. You simply take them like this and scoop the seeds out like that. Voila! Here's another one. Take it like this. Use your finger, go underneath the seeds, pop them out. Easy as can be. Okay, so everything now has been quartered and seeded, and what we're simply going to do is fill up a gallon baggie with the tomatoes. Tomatoes, because by virtue of their very high water content, freeze incredibly well. And so that's what we're going to do. I think I mentioned we had a bumper crop this year. We have over 10 gallon bags, 10 1-gallon bags of tomatoes in our freezer. And this fills up just about a quarter of one here. But not only is this an easy method to store garden fresh tomatoes, there's also an added benefit, and we're going to see that next. So as I said before, there is an added benefit to saving tomatoes through this process. I've just pulled out 8 quarters of tomatoes from a frozen tomato bag that we have. And what that is that 8 quarters, that means 2 tomatoes. So they're frozen solid. I want to defrost them, so I'm going to take them and simply put them into some cool water right there. And we'll let them set for just 3 to 5 minutes, and then they'll be defrosted. There's more. So it's been about 5 minutes now, and these guys have defrosted. So what I like about this method, you'll take it, and you may not need it, but I'll start it with a sharp knife right here, and the skin peels right away. So there's no need to dunk these into boiling water then to peel the skin off. The skin comes right off by itself. And that's great. I've got 2 tomatoes, or effectively 2 tomatoes here, that just taken the skin off of. And we will use these tonight to make some wonderful pico de gallo, my wife's beautiful wife's recipe, to go with our fabulous cheese enchiladas. So I hope this has been helpful. This is Ted Rogers on History by the Plate.